page 119, Act 4. Act 3 ends with information. We know that Malcolm is in England and is rising up an army there with the help of the English King Edward and the War General Seward. We know that Macduff has also left the country, left Scotland, gone off to England to try to get some help. We know that Macbeth is trusting nobody and is planning to meet the witches again to find out what further advice they can offer. Act 4 opens with that famous cursed scene. This is the reason King James, the real King of England, banned this play's performance for 5 years. He was afraid of witches, and we open the scene with this black magic recipe. So take notes if you need to know how to spin a spell. Scene 1, thunder. Enter the 3 witches. Thrice the brinded cat hath mewed. Thrice and once the hedge pig whined. Harp your cries, 'tis time, 'tis time. Round about the cauldron go, in the poisoned entrails throw. Toad that under cold stone days and nights has 31 sweltered venom sleeping got. Boil thou first in the charmed pot. So mental theater picture, we've got these witches around the cauldron and they're putting things in that cauldron. And the first thing is that toad that was under a cold stone for 31 days and nights. Throw that in first. The witches circle the cauldron. Double, double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Fillet of fenny snake in the cauldron boil and bake. Eye of newt, toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog, adder's fork, adder's a snake, adder's fork and blind worm's sting, lizard's leg and howlet's wing, for a charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth, boil and bubble. Double, double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Scale of dragon, tooth of wolf, witch's mummy, maw and gulf of the ravened sea salt shark, root of hemlock digged in the dark, a liver of a blaspheming Jew, gall of goat and slips of yew slivered in the moon's eclipse. So you gotta cut off that little bit of the yew, that little bit of the lamb in the moon's eclipse, cut that piece off. The nose of a Turk and Tartar's lips, finger of a birth-strangled baby, ditch delivered by a drab. Okay, you go find that one because that's the hardest one. You need to find a baby that was born in a ditch, but it was strangled, like by the umbilical cord during birth, and it had to be born of a drab, so like a prostitute. Good luck. You're on that one. Go find that, and I'll go find the Tartar's lips and the slips of the yew, okay? Finger of a birth strangled babe, ditch delivered by a drab, make the gruel thick and slab. Add thereto a tiger's chaldron, like the entrails of a tiger, for the ingredients of our cauldron. Double, double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Cool it with a baboon's blood, then the charm is firm and good. Enter Hecate to the other 3 witches. Remember, Hecate is the lead witch. Oh, well done, I commend your pains, and everyone shall share in the gains. And now about the cauldron sing, like elves and fairies in a ring, enchanting all that you put in. Music and a song, black spirits, Hecate exits. By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. Open locks, whoever knocks. Enter Macbeth. How now, you secret black and midnight hags, what is it you do? A deed without a name. I conjure you by that which you profess, however you come to know it, answer me. Though you untie the winds and let them fight against the churches, though the yeasty waves confound and swallow navigation up, though bladed corn be lodged and trees blow down, though castles topple on their warders' heads, though palaces and pyramids do slope their heads to their foundations, though the treasure of nature's Germans tumble all together, even till destruct and sicken, answer me to what I ask you. We have Macbeth demanding these witches who consort with the devil. He is demanding these witches to obey him. Speak, demand, we'll answer. Say, if thou hadst rather hear it from our mouths or from our masters. Do you want the devil himself to come? Just let us know. Call him. Let me see him. All right, huh? Pour in the sow's blood that hath eaten her 9, Pharaoh. grease that's sweating from the murderer's gibbet throw into the flame. So what's that last thing? The gibbet is like where you hang the murderer. So the sweat, the grease, the sweat from that murderer's brow, who's up there on the gibbet waiting to be hanged, go get some of that sweat, because that has to go in the cauldron too. And then we'll be able to call our masters. So yeah, you go find that one too. That's a hard one. I'll work on like I'm finding the U slips. Yeah, you're finding that finger from the baby, and now some sweat from the brow of a murderer who is about to be executed. Come high or low, thyself in office deftly show. Thunder, first apparition rising out of the cauldron. An apparition is like a ghost or a being. And this first one is in the shape of an armed head. An armed head. Nice picture on the other page of an armed head. The witches, come high or low. Oh, I already read that part, sorry. Armed head, Macbeth. Tell me, thou unknown power. He knows thy thought. Hear his speech, but say thou not. Shut up, Macbeth. Macbeth, Macbeth, Macbeth. Beware Macduff. Beware the Thane of Fife. Dismiss me enough. He descends back into the cauldron. Whatever thou art, for thy good caution, thank you. Thou hast harped my fear aright. But one word more. He will not be commanded. Here's another, more potent than the first. Thunder, a second apparition. This time it's a bloody child. Macbeth, Macbeth, Macbeth. Had I 3 ears, I'd hear thee. Be bloody, bold, and resolute. Laugh to scorn the power of man, for none of woman born shall harm Macbeth. And he descends back into the cauldron. Then live, Macduff. What need I fear thee? But yet I'll make assurance double sure, and take a bond of fate. Thou shalt not live, that I may tell pale-hearted fear it lies, and sleep in spite of thunder. And kill you anyway, just to be sure. Thunder. Third apparition, this time, rising out of the cauldron, is a child crowned with a tree in his hand. So like instead of a scepter, he's got a tree in his hand. What is this that rises like the issue of a king, like the kid of a king, and wears upon his baby brow the round and top of sovereignty? He's wearing a crown. Listen, but speak not to it. Shut up, Macbeth. Be lion-mettled, proud, and take no care who chafes, who frets, or where conspirers are. Macbeth shall never vanquished be, until great Birnam Wood, to high Dunsinane Hill, shall come against him. And he descends. Great Birnam Wood is a woods. We could go visit this woods in Scotland. If we could travel, field trip, let's go. We could go visit this woods, Great Birnam Wood, and we could also visit Dunsinane Hill. It's also a location in Scotland. And so this third apparition is saying, Macbeth shall never be vanquished. You're never gonna have to worry, Macbeth, you are good, until Great Birnam Wood to high Dunsinane Hill shall come against him. So kind of saying, until the woods moves to the hill, till the woods walks to the hill, you are going to be in power, Macbeth. That seems like really good news, because I don't know any woods that can move. And that apparition descends back into the cauldron, and Macbeth is feeling good. Well, that will never be. Who can impress the forest? Who can bid the tree to unfix his earthbound root? Sweet bodements, good news. Rebellious dead, rise never, till the wood of Birnam rise, and our high-placed Macbeth shall live the lease of nature, right? I'm going to live the life I was meant to live. I'm not going to be killed early. Pay his breath to time and mortal custom. Yet my heart throbs to know one thing. Tell me, if your art can tell so much, how good are you? Can you tell me this? Shall Banquo's issue ever reign in this kingdom? Will Banquo's kids ever be king? Seek to know no more. I will be satisfied. Deny me this, and an eternal curse fall on you. Let me know. Macbeth is cursing the devil here. I don't know how that works. The cauldron sinks, though. Why sinks the cauldron? And what noise is this? Show, show, show. Show his eyes and grieve his heart. Come like shadows, so depart. A show of 8 kings. The 8th king with a glass or a mirror in his hand, and Banquo's at the end of this line. Thou art too like the spirit of Banquo. Down! Thy crown does sear mine eyeballs, and thy hair, thou other gold-bound brow, it's like the first. And there's a third, it's like the former. Filthy hags, why do you show me this? A fourth? Start, eyes. What? Will the line stretch out to the crack of doom? Another yet? There's a seventh. So he's watching the line of Banquo's kids all crowned. And there's a seventh one. I'll see no more. And yet the eighth appears, who bears a glass which shows me many more. And some I see that twofold balls and treble scepters carry, like they're holding 3 scepters in their hand. Horrible sight. Now I see 'tis true, for the blood-boltered Banquo smiles upon me and points at them for his. This apparition disappears. What? Is this so? Aye, sir. All this is so. But why stands Macbeth thus amazedly? Right? We told you this from the beginning. Come, sisters, cheer we up his sprites and show the best of our delights. I'll chime the air to give a sound while you perform your antic round, that this great king may kindly say our duties did his welcome pay. Music, the witches dance and vanish. Where are they? Gone? Let this pernicious hour, pernicious evil, let this pernicious hour stand I accursed in the calendar. Come in, who's there? Enter Lennox. What's your grace's will? Saw you the weird sisters? No, my lord. Come they not by you? No, indeed, my lord. Infected be the air whereon they ride, and damned all those that trust them. So he's cursing the witches again, which is so unnatural because they are the devil. And he's also cursing himself because he trusts them. I did hear the galloping of a horse. Who was it came by? 'Tis 2 or 3, my lord, that bring you word Macduff is fled to England. Fled to England? Aye, my good lord. Aside, so Lennox isn't hearing this. These are Macbeth's thoughts for us. Time, thou anticipatest my dread exploits. Right, I was planning on killing Macduff, and he's left already. Shoot, time anticipated what I was going to do. The flighty purpose never is overtook unless the deed go with it. From this moment, the very firstlings of my heart shall be the firstlings of my hand. I'm not going to think about anything. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it right away. And even now, to crown my thoughts with acts, be it thought and done, here's what I'm going to do. The castle of Macduff I will surprise, seize upon Fife, give to the edge of the sword his wife, his babies, and all unfortunate souls that trace him in his line. So I'm going to go to Macduff's castle. He's not there right now. He's in England, but his family's there, his servants, his people. I'm going to go there, and I'm going to give the edge of the sword to everyone I find. No boasting like a fool. This date I'll do before this purpose cool. But no more sights. Where are these gentlemen? Come, bring me where they are. They exit. Enter Macduff's wife, her son, and Ross. What had he done to make him fly the land? You must have patience, madam. He had none. His flight was madness. When our actions do not, our fears do make us traitors. You know not whether it was his wisdom or his fear. Wisdom? To leave his wife, to leave his babies, his mansion and his titles in a place from whence himself does fly? He loves us not. He wants the natural touch. For the poor wren, the most diminutive of birds, will fight, her young ones in her nest, against the owl. All is the fear, and nothing is the love, as little as the wisdom, where the flight so runs against all reason. My dearest coz, I pray you school yourself, but for your husband, because he is noble, wise, judicious, and best knows the fits of the season. I dare not speak much further. But cruel are the times when we are traitors and do not know ourselves, when we hold rumor from what we fear, yet know not what we fear, but float upon a wild and violent sea, each way and move. I take my leave of you. It's dangerous if I say anything because you never know who's watching and who's going to report, and then who's going to end up called a traitor and killed. Shall not be long, but I'll be here again. Things at the worst will cease, or else climb upward to what they were before. My pretty cousin, blessing upon you. Fathered he is, and yet he's fatherless. I am so much a fool. Should I stay longer, it would be my disgrace and your discomfort. I take my leave at once. Ross exits, just Lady Macduff and her son on stage. Sirrah, your father's dead. And what will you do now? How will you live? As birds do, mother. What, with worms and flies? With what I get, I mean, and so do they. Poor bird, thou'dst never fear the net nor line, the pitfall nor the gin. Why should I, mother? Poor birds they are not set for. My father is not dead for all your saying. Yes, he is dead. How wilt thou do for a father? Nay, how will you do for a husband? Why, I can buy me 20 at any market. Then you'll buy him to sell again. Thou speakest with all thy wit, and yet in faith, with wit enough for thee. Was my father a traitor, mother? Aye, that he was. She's just saying this because she means he abandoned us, and so he's a traitor to us. Macduff is not a traitor to Scotland. What is a traitor? Why, one that swears and lies. And be all traitors that do so. Everyone that does so is a traitor and must be hanged. And must they all be hanged that swear and lie? Every one. Who must hang them? Why, the honest men. Then the liars and swearers are fools, for there are liars and swearers enough to beat the honest men and hang up them. Now God help thee, poor monkey, but how wilt thou do for a father? If he were dead, you'd weep for him. If you would not, it were a good sign that I should quickly have a new father. Poor Pradler, how he talks. Enter a messenger. Bless you, fair dame. I'm not to you known, though in your state of honor I am perfect. I'm not going to hurt you. I doubt some danger does approach you nearly. If you will take a homely man's advice, be not found here. Hence with your little ones. To fright you thus, methinks I am too savage. To do worse to you, though, were fell cruelty, which is too nigh your person. Heaven preserve you. I dare abide no longer. Messenger exits. Whither should I fly? I have done no harm. But I remember now I am in this earthly world, where to do harm is often laudable. To do good, sometime accounted dangerous folly. Why then, alas, do I put up that womanly defense to say I have done no harm? Enter murderers. What are these faces? Where's your husband? I hope in no place so unsanctified, where such as thou mayst find him. He's a traitor. Thou liest, thou shag-eared villain. What, you egg? Stabbing him. You fry of treachery. The son. He has killed me, mother. Run away, I pray you. Lady Macduff exits crying murder, followed by the murderers bearing the son's body. Scene 3. Malcolm. We are in England with Malcolm. Remember, Malcolm is heir to the throne, son of King Duncan. Let us seek out some desolate shade, and there weep, our sad bosoms empty. Let us rather hold fast the mortal sword, and like good men, bestride our downfall and birthdom. Let's be men, huh? Each new morn, new widows howl, new orphans cry, new sorrows strike heaven on the face, that it resounds as if it felt with Scotland, and yelled out like syllables of dolor. What I believe, I'll wail. What no, believe. What I can redress, what I can fix, as I shall find the time to friend, I will. What you have spoke, it may be so, perchance. This tyrant, Macbeth, whose sole name blisters our tongue, was once thought honest. You have loved him well. He hath not touched you yet. I am young, but something you may deserve of him through me, and wisdom to offer up a weak, poor, innocent lamb to appease an angry God. I am not treacherous, but Macbeth is. In good and virtuous nature may recoil in an imperial charge, but I shall crave your pardon. That which you are, my thoughts cannot transpose. Angels are bright still, though the brightest fell. Meaning Satan. Satan, the devil, was an angel. He was an angel at first, but he was kicked out of heaven. He was the brightest angel. Even he fell. Though all things foul would wear the brows of grace, yet grace must still look so. I have lost my hopes. Perchance even there where I did find my doubts. Why in that rawness left you wife and child, those precious motives, those strong knots of love, without leave taking? Why'd you leave your family? I pray you, let not my jealousies be your dishonors, but mine own safeties. You may be rightly just, whatever I shall think. Bleed, bleed, poor country. Great tyranny, lay thou thy basis sure, for goodness dare not check thee. Wear thou thy wrongs. The title is afeard. Fare thee well, Lord. I would not be the villain that thou thinkest, for the whole space that's in the tyrant's grasp, and the rich east to boot. You can trust me, is what he is saying. I'm not the villain. I'm not here sent by Macbeth trying to get information out of you or trying to harm you. I'm not the villain. And I wouldn't be that villain for all of the land and the rich east to boot. I'm not who you think I am. Malcolm is not trusting Macduff here, rightfully so. Macduff is losing hope here because Malcolm isn't going to trust him. Be not offended. I speak not as in absolute fear of you, Macduff. I think our country sinks beneath the yoke. It weeps, it bleeds, and each new day a gash is added to her wounds. I think withal there would be hands uplifted in my right. And here from gracious England have I offer of goodly thousands. There's lots of people here who are helping me. But for all this, when I shall tread upon the tyrant's head, Macbeth's head, or wear it on my sword, yet my poor country shall have more vices than it had before, more suffer, and more sundry ways than ever, by him that shall succeed. Malcolm is talking about himself here. He is saying, I know Macbeth is a tyrant, but if I came back and I became king, the country would have more vices. It would suffer even more if I were the king. I wouldn't be a good king. And now he's going to explain why he wouldn't be a good king. Can you figure out why? What reason he's giving? What should he be? What problems could you have, Malcolm? You're a good person. It is myself, I mean, in whom I know all the particulars of vice, evil, so grafted that when they shall be opened, when people know who I really am, black Macbeth will seem as pure as snow, and the poor state esteem him as a lamb, being compared with my confineless harms. Not in the legions of horrid hell can come a devil more damned in evils to top Macbeth. Yes, I grant Macbeth is bloody and luxurious and avaricious and false and deceitful. He's sudden, he's malicious. He is smacking of every sin that has a name. But there's no bottom, none, in my voluptuousness. Your wives, your daughters, your matrons, and your maids could not fill up the cistern of my lust. And my desire, all continent impediments would overbear that did oppose my will. Better Macbeth than such a one as me to reign. Boundless intemperance in nature is a tyranny. It hath been the untimely emptying of the happy throne and the fall of many kings. But fear not, Malcolm, to take upon you what is yours. You may convey your pleasures in a spacious plenty, and yet seem cold. The time you may so hoodwink. We have willing dames enough. There cannot be that vulture in you to devour so many as will to greatness dedicate themselves, finding it so inclined. With this there grows in my most ill-composed affections such a staunchless avarice that, were I king, I should cut off the nobles for their lands, desire his jewels and this other's house, and my more having would be as a sauce to make me hunger more, that I should forge quarrels unjust against the good and loyal, destroying them for wealth. Well, this avarice does stick deeper. It grows with more pernicious root than summer seeming lust. So your greediness, yeah, this could be bad, even worse than your summer seeming lust, which will probably go away as you get older. But yeah, the greed for money, that might be a problem. And it hath been the sword of our slain kings. Yet do not fear. Scotland hath foisions to fill up your will, of our mere own. We've got lots of money in Scotland. All these are portable, with other graces weighed. But I have none, I have no graces. The king becoming graces like justice and verity, temperance, stableness, bounty, perseverance, mercy, lowliness, devotion, patience, courage, fortitude. I have no relish of them, but abound in the division of each several crime, acting it many ways. Nay, had I power, I should pour the sweet milk of concord into hell, uproar the universal peace, confound all unity on earth. Oh, Scotland, right? What are we going to do? If such a one be fit to govern, speak. I am, as I have spoken. Fit to govern? No, not to live. O nation, miserable, with an untitled tyrant, bloody sceptered, when shalt thou see thy wholesome days again? When is our country going to see good days again? Since that the truest issue of thy throne by his own interdiction stands accursed and does blaspheme his breed, right, Malcolm? The natural ruler, the person who naturally should assume the throne. If he can't take the throne, what are we going to do? Thy royal father, so he's saying, Malcolm, your father, King Duncan, he was a most sainted king. The queen that bore you, Malcolm, oftener upon her knees, more than on her feet, always in prayer. She died every day she lived. Fare thee well. These evils thou repeatest upon thyself hath banished me from Scotland. O my breast, thy hope ends here. Macduff, this noble passion, child of integrity, hath from my soul wiped the black scruples, reconciled my thoughts to thy good truth and honor. Devilish Macbeth, by many of these trains, hath sought to win me into his power, and modest wisdom plucks me from overcredulous haste. But God above deal between thee and me, for even now I put myself in thy direction, and unspeak mine own detraction. Here I abjure the taints and blames I laid upon myself, for strangers to my nature. I am yet unknown to woman. Never was forsworn, scarcely have coveted what was mine own, and at no time broke my faith. I would not betray the devil to his fellow, and I do not delight no less in truth than life. My first false speaking was this upon myself, right? This is the first time I've ever even lied, was these things I said against myself. What I am truly is thine, and my poor country's to command. Whither indeed, before thy here approach, old seaward with 10,000 warlike men already at a point was setting forth. I've already got an army. We're already going to go and defeat Macbeth. Now, wheel together, come with us, and the chance of goodness be like your warranted quarrel. Why are you silent, Macduff? Just such welcome and unwelcome things all at once. It's hard to reconcile. I'm trying to keep up. Enter a doctor. Well, more anon, we'll talk later. Comes the king's forth, I pray you, he asked the doctor. Aye, sir, there are a crew of wretched souls that stay his cure. Their malady convinces the great essay of art, but at his touch, such sanctity hath heaven given his hand, they presently amend. The doctor's talking about King Edward, the King of England. Malcolm has just asked, is the king coming? And the doctor says yes, but there's a lot of people here waiting for King Edward to cure them. The people believe that King Edward had healing power. Just being in his presence or him touching would cure a person. And so the doctor is saying, yep, he's on his way, but there's a lot of people who are asking for him to cure them before he gets here. We get the impression that King Edward is a very good king, a king that can heal, which is something Scotland really needs right now. I thank you, doctor, and the doctor exits. What's the disease he means? 'Tis called the evil. A most miraculous work is this good King Edward, which often, since my here remain in England, I have seen him do. How he solicits heaven himself best knows. I don't know how he does it, but strangely visited people, all swollen and ulcerous, pitiful to the eye, the mere despair of surgery, King Edward cures, hanging a golden stamp about their necks, put on with holy prayers. And it is said, to the succeeding royalty he leaves this healing benediction. With this strange virtue, he hath a heavenly gift of prophecy, and sundry blessings hang about his throne that speak him full of grace. Enter Ross. See who comes here? It's my countryman, but yet I know him not. My ever gentle cousin, welcome hither. I know him now. Good God betimes remove the means that make us strangers. Sir, amen. Good to see you again, huh? Stand Scotland where it did. Alas, poor country, almost afraid to know itself. It cannot be called our mother, but our grave, where nothing but who knows nothing is once seen to smile, where sighs and groans and shrieks that rent the air are made, but not marked. No one even pays attention to the shrieking anymore because it's so common. Where violent sorrow seems a modern ecstasy. The dead man's knell is there scarce asked for, who, and good men's lives expire before the flowers in their caps, dying or ere they sicken. Everyone is dying. In Scotland. Relation too nice and yet too true. It's even worse than what you're saying, Macduff is saying. Well, what's the newest grief? That of an hour's age doth hiss the speaker. Each minute teems a new one. There's new griefs every minute. How does my wife? Why, well. And all my children? Well, too. The tyrant has not battered at their peace? No, they were well at peace when I did leave them. Be not a niggard of your speech, right? It feels like you're holding your speech back. How goes it? When I came hither to transport the tidings, which I have heavily borne, there ran a rumor of many worthy fellows that were out there, which was to my belief witness the rather for that I saw the tyrant's power afoot. Now is a time of help. Your eye in Scotland would create soldiers. Make our women fight to doff their dire distresses. Be it their comfort, we are coming thither. Gracious England hath lent us good seaward, he's a war general, and 10,000 men, an older and better soldier, none that Christendom gives out. We're gonna come and save Scotland, don't worry. Would I could answer this comfort with the like. I wish I could give you good news too. But I have words that will be howled out in the desert air, where hearing should not latch them. Well, what concern they? The general cause? Or is it a fee grief due to some single breast? Is your news going to affect all of us or just one of us? No minds that's honest, but in it share some woe, like everyone's going to be sad, though the main part pertains to you alone, Macduff. If it be mine, keep it not from me. Quickly, let me have it. Let not your ears despise my tongue forever, which shall possess them with the heaviest sound that ever yet they heard. I guess at it. Your castle is surprised, your wife and baby savagely slaughtered. To relate the manner were on the quarry of these murdered deer, to add the death of you. Merciful heaven, what man never pulls your hat upon your brows, gives sorrow words? The grief that does not speak whispers the overfraught heart and bids it break. My children too? Wife, children, servants, all that could be found were killed. And I must be from thence. Why was I not there to protect him? My wife killed too? I have said. Be comforted. Let's make us medicines of our great revenge to cure this deadly grief. He has no children. All my pretty ones? Did he say all? Oh, Hellkite, all? What, all my pretty chickens and their dam at one fell swoop? Dispute it like a man. I shall do so, but I must also feel it as a man. I cannot but remember such things that were most precious to me. Nothing mattered to me more. Did heaven look on and would not take their part? Heaven didn't even help them. Sinful Macduff, they were all struck down for me. Not that I am, not for their own demerits, but for mine. Fell slaughter on their souls. Heaven rest them now. Be this the whetstone of your sword. Let grief convert to anger. Blunt not the heart, but enrage it. Let's go get even. Oh, I could play the woman with mine eyes and braggart with my tongue, but gentle heavens, cut short all intermissions. Front to front bring thou this fiend of Scotland, Macbeth, and myself within my sword's length set him. If he escape, heaven forgive him too. This tune goes manly. Come, go we to the king. Our power is ready. Our lack is nothing but our leave. All we have left to do is leave. Let's go to Scotland. Macbeth is ripe for shaking, and the powers above put on their instruments. Receive what cheer you may. The night is long that never finds the day. And they exit.